Hello, welcome to Love, Forgive, Live. Whew, busy day. So, let me get to it. Today we're going to cover something a little different from what I normally talk about. I feel this is important because I had a pretty profound dream today and it changed my perspective a little bit. I hope it does the same thing for you. Now, thinking about this, I realized that I've been practicing this method of thinking and processing and problem solving most likely in my undergrad years back in U of R in Regina. I didn't think much of it then. I just thought, this works for me, so it's a formula that works, so I'm just doing it. But the older I got, I realized that it was important. What I'm talking about is dreams. How impactful your dreams are if you really take the time to write them down. And why it's important to write them down. What is the significance of writing your dreams down? And of course, what's the purpose? And how does it impact our lives whilst we are awake? Okay? But think about it this way. Just for a second, we can try and imagine. What if your sleep time is really your awake time? That is really the real you. Think about that for a second. I know I'm turning things a little upside down here and making you think a little more. But just so you know, think about that. Just imagine it for a second. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? So, how I discovered this or stumbled onto this was in my undergrad. I had to prepare for my midterm, my papers, assignments, and quizzes, and oh Lord, I was exhausted. I was not happy. I would panic, and I'll get, oh my gosh, you don't even know. I would go into a panic mode. I would cry because I'll become so overwhelmed with everything. And that was debilitating. Sometimes I would be so worried and the anxiety and the panic would take over so much that I would be on the floor, like in a fetal position crying because I would be worried that I'll be letting everybody down. I'll be letting myself down, and I've spent so much money for classes, taking student loan. What am I going to do? What if I fail? Oh my gosh, everything was going through in my head, and it was exhausting to be that worried constantly about classes and grades and how am I going to make it. So I would just curl up in the fetal position and cry and lose it. And then after doing all that crying and the emotional roller coaster my mind was going through, my heart would be pounding. After going through all that, I would be exhausted. So guess what I would do? Sleep. I know most people don't sleep when they're stressed out, but for me, I go to sleep. I went to sleep that night and I had a great sleep. I had a deep sleep. I don't even remember what time I went to bed, but I remember waking up around 3 a.m. And when I woke up at 3 a.m., I felt rejuvenated. I felt excited. I felt alive. I felt good. So I felt like my mind was clear and I was ready to tackle anything that was being thrown at me or what I'm going to do. I sat down and I remember writing a paper and I wrote 10 pages like that at one sitting. And then after that, I took my notebook and started reading and reviewing for 2 tests or for the midterm. Studied, excuse me, felt like I was doing fine. And then came for the midterm exam, passed them, reviewed their assignments the next day, rewrote it, took it to the writing clinic. Thank goodness somebody was there to check it over for me before I did my final draft and then sent it, and everything was done. So then I was like, wait, what just happened? 24 hours before, I was freaking out. I was just a mess. How did this happen? And I thought, okay, something is strange. Then another paper had to come up, I think 2 weeks later, and I had to write the paper, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I started thinking and thinking and thinking. Then I went to sleep again and woke up with a outline for my paper. I was sold. Then I realized, wait a minute, something happens when I go to sleep. Whatever solution that I need seems to get worked out in sleep. So when I wake up, I have a clear perspective of the situation and an understanding and how to tackle it. So I go, oh my goodness, I think I found what works for me. I got so excited. I started asking every night before I would go to sleep, let me remember what happens in my sleep. Let me remember the dreams. I want to know. I want to see what this is about. And it was actually pretty important to me. So I started asking. And the beautiful thing is, once you ask something of the divine, you ask something of source, you ask something of the universe, it will provide it for you. So I asked in sincerity and with the right intentions and focus. And it started showing up. I got a journal and I started writing dreams that I will remember. And I started feeling really good about my dreams and solving problems and situations, and I'll have clarity. So that put me on a path of working everything out by asking questions, and I'll go to sleep and get answers. And newsflash, this podcast, every single topic, I go to sleep and I wake up and I have an idea. And clearly I'll start writing that down and go do the podcast. I don't go thinking for too long. I don't do that. I allow things to happen organically, things to happen through me, because I see myself as a vessel for the divine to work through me by giving me knowledge and wisdom that I need to share with my brothers and sisters. And in order for me to allow myself or avail myself for that to happen, I must be able to create the environment of complete surrender and allow that to flow through me. And so far, 6 months and going out, I've been doing this, and I wish I could say that, oh my gosh, I worked on this for months and weeks and slaved over it. No. I go to sleep and I get answers and directions, and I wake up and I write them. So today is about the importance of writing your dreams down, importance of the impact of dreams in our lives, and how we can allow ourselves to be open to receiving the knowledge and the wisdom that we get through it. The other thing that I will also talk about is about how this is an idea. I stumbled on this, on a Bible verse, without even thinking or searching. It was, like I said, organically it happens. I was just holding it and I was like, show me, teach me what you want to tell me, and what knowledge should I get today. And it was just beautiful to have the right thing. I randomly opened the page and that there it was, and I was like, okay, that's perfect. My answers were right there. So I don't know about you, but for me, I get excited about things, so that I get very excited. And of course, I'm going to tell you about a profound dream I had today that I think is safe to share. And it blew my mind about the analogy. And I was like, wow, we do this all the time. And I didn't even realize how impactful it is about our lives. Anyways, but when you go into the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 15 to 16, it says, in the dream of the night, when man sleep or humanity sleeps, in a vision, whilst we're in a deep sleep, he opens our ears and seals our instructions, or their instructions. And it's powerful because the divine speaks to you in dreams. So there are symbols, words. And of course, sometimes even colors, because I would have very highly vivid dreams and colors. And someone told me, well, you're not supposed to. I don't think people dream in not colors. Well, I do. I see colors, bright, beautiful colors. And I love it. It's like my favorite thing to wake up and describe colors. And sometimes I even draw pictures. I have stories that I've written where it's been handed to me in dreams. The titles are handed to me in dreams, and I wake up and I will draw a picture of that title and the whole cover and color. I mean, I'm not an artist, but I would draw it and write the words of the title. So believe me, it's very powerful, and I strongly believe in this. The other thing is that when you go to Jeremiah 30, verse 1 to 15, it says, God spoke to Jeremiah and said, write all the words that I have spoken to you in a book. Wow. So what you get in dreams, write it down. The more you write it down, oh my gosh, I can't say enough about it. I get very excited. And that's the verse I stumbled on without even knowing that anything like that exists in the Bible. And I was just randomly saying, what do I need to learn? And I stumbled on that. So it's very important. Jeremiah 30, verse 1 to 15. Go ahead and read it yourself and understand. And writing down what is spoken to you, especially in dreams, is very important, because you get answers and solutions, and they create a sense of direction for all of us. And I can't say enough about that. Now, I got so excited about this topic. Forgive me. I did not even introduce what this podcast is called. Anyways, my name is Schroeder Aglago. This is Love, Forgive, Live podcast. Welcome those of you who are listening for the first time, and loyal listeners who have stayed with me from the beginning to now. I appreciate you and I love you. You would never know how much and how important it is for me to do this work, to do this complete surrender, to be used this way. I'm speechless, so I don't know what to say, but thank you for sticking with me. The other thing, I will talk a little bit about how we relate to each other. as brothers and sisters, because it's very important. We are one. We are all one. We come from one family, the human race. So I don't see a stranger on the street and go, oh, that's a stranger. I see that person as another brother and another sister. Okay? That allows me to connect with everybody from the heart. Now, the other thing I recognize today about the dream is this. In the dream, I was waiting for a cab, and the cab driver came, and I realized that I stepped into the cab. And when I stepped into the cab, this is the funny part, I was blindfolded with a white fabric across my face, my eyes. And I opened the cab door, and I sat in there. And I remember the cab driver asking me, where to? So I said, where I was going. So he said, all right, sit back, buckle up. I'm like, okay. Then he started driving. Then he asked me a question. How am I? And I said I was okay. Then he said something that I thought was very important. And this is, listen to it and see if you got the same message I got. He says, relationship in general and how we relate to one another and with our relationship with the divine. And he said, so here you are, sitting in this cab, blindfolded. And all you had to tell me was where you're going. You didn't give me anything else. You didn't ask me any questions. You just gave me the location of what you want or where you're going. And then I had to drive. And you trust me to drive. You trust me to take you where you're going without any hesitation at all. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, yeah, where's this going? Like, what gives? Why is this person asking these questions? And he asked me, so you sit in this cab without any problems. You just trust me. I'm a human. Just a person. You're in this car with me. You don't know where we are going. Or where we are going except to know who. Or I don't even think you know me. Okay? You know we are going somewhere. Because I'm driving. You have no idea where I'm taking you. You just trust me that I am driving. You don't even know that I am a safe driver. Okay? You're just following along. Just like everything is fine. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay. And then he said, and you have this blindfold on. He said, it's a strange thing. You trust any human blindly like that, especially you get into a love relationship or friendship relationship, and you just trust your friend without any hesitation, no apprehension. And you get into a cab without knowing anything about the driver, and you just sit in there, trusting them to take you to your location. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking, where's this going? And then he asked me the question, did you ever think anything different that you should ask questions or tell the person how to get from place to place and be a backseat driver? I'm thinking, no. Then he said, wow, you have this blindfold on and you trust me to take you, and you trust this vehicle. You don't even know if this vehicle is safe. So you have no clue. But in fact, you're just trusting me and believe that I will take you to where you need to go. I'm like, yeah, that's no big deal. Then he asked the question, wow, this blind faith, and I'm just a person, I'm driving you. What if you have the same level of faith and trust and surrender with the universe, with the divine, with source, with God? Just as much as you're trusting the cab driver, another human being, with that level of trust, your whole body, your future, your presence, to that driver you're sitting in the back seat, what would it look like? How would it feel like if you had the same faith to be led that way and driven? All you had to decide was to say what you wanted without any apprehension, no fear at all. Try and see in your mind what that would look like. To have that trust, that faith, that surrender, that confidence, that surety that person, that the divine is going to get you to where you want to go. And you're going to be safe. The car is safe. The vehicle is safe. Wow. How would that look like? Imagine that. Imagine the impact of that on yourself. Imagine the impact of that in anything you do. Anything. Life will be pretty interesting. See, our lives in general, it's about surrendering the process. But the strange thing is we don't do it. We try to hold back and want control. And then we don't surrender. We want to navigate. We want to say when it should be done, how it should be done, which way it should be done, and through whom. But here we are sitting in the cab with this man or a woman and trusting the cab driver to drive. Think for a moment. If we did that, how much more different our lives would be? How would that look like? That's the question I want everybody to ask themselves. Exactly what is it? What is it? Because what if we decide to go along for the ride, for the process, for the moments, and recognize the gifting that we are getting from it at all, and learning to understand that we are more than enough. We are more than capable of that trust, and then sitting back and saying, yeah, I did say what I wanted. Now is the time to just sit back. See, the strangest thing is we keep thinking that we can do it all. And we have the ability to take things to where it should be. But the funny thing that makes me always wonder is this. We don't even know the path that we're walking on is safe. We have no idea if there's a big ditch in that road, or if there's a sinkhole in that road that we're going to drive to, or the driver is going to take us through. Yet we have all the confidence sitting back. If we knew How powerful that would be. Wow. Just imagine. Because if we learn to sink back into the ride, the processing, I bet things will look a little more different. It'll look a little more favorable. Where we have that trust, that blind trust, and give that to divine. If you're able to give that to a mere human, another brother and sister, why not the one that created you? The one that knows the way, that knows the road and the way before you even get there, before you start making the plan. The one that knows what the outcome is going to be will show you. Maybe let's go this way. I sometimes ask the question, why is it so easy for us to trust one another rather than the divine? I still don't have the answers to that. And I don't know if I ever will. I try to dabble in trying to answer that, and it it's always silly and it never makes any sense. So ask yourself, what do I need to do to leave all the rest of the figuring out, how he's going to be, whom he's going to be through, and allow the divine to lead us? I think it would be so amazing. Because if we can keep in mind allowing that to lead us, the universe to lead us, I think we will become a lot more awake, a lot more aware of our environment and how we impact one another and what we contribute to one another. In the dream, let me continue a little bit of that again. Once I was in the cab and a man is talking to me and deciding and asking these questions. Then we were at a stop sign. And at the stop sign, he says, allow yourself to be led. Allow yourself to be led so that you can go about your business of serving humanity as you were created to do. Allow yourself to be led as you go about your business of serving humanity as you were created for. That sunk in, and I woke up with that on my mind all day today. Wow, the moment the light changed, the green light changed, the red changed to the green. He started to move, and then I woke up. When I woke up, I felt a strong sense of trust in the universe. Complete connection and at peace. I believed everything is going to always be okay. Right now, we are all struggling to make sense of the pandemic. But maybe this is the time to start allowing ourselves to be led. Because, let me put it this way, we are not getting anywhere on our own. So it's very important. Here's a word from our sponsors. We are back. Understanding this and recognizing that the situation that we are in is already taken care of. But we have to believe that it's taken care of. Because focusing on the right now and the situation and feeling overwhelmed and bogged down and feeling that it's impossible, maybe this is the time to start imagining that it can get better. And we have to put ourselves in a position of trust. Work on our trust, because we have a long time to distrust one another. But when it comes to driving, we are so kind to one another. We drive knowing that the other driver is going to stay in lane. Yes, accidents happen, but they're so rare, and it's not something that's constantly happening so that you can't drive on the road. And that's what faith is. Believe that it's already taken care of, even though you don't have answers. But you trust anyways, and surrender it, because holding on to it doesn't serve you. So maybe how about you surrender it? Because surrendering is what will allow you to just be still and let the divine lead you. Let the universe lead you. The strange thing is that the universe is not here or is not against us or finding ways to plot and destroy us. And I know for sure that the universe planned for all of us, including me, is to make us prosperous, is to make us have a future, and be at peace in knowing that we will get through this. I sit around and I would sometimes imagine life a year from now, 2 years from now, what that would look like. I know for me, it'll make me appreciate everyone in my life a lot more, and to learn to be more present and less rigid about whether things are done right or not. See, the universe has it all figured out. And always has our back. And it's not too late to learn to trust and surrender your stuff. Because I promise you, it is way too heavy. And it bogs you down. Creates a really nasty, nasty sense of dread in you. So, my take is this. Ask to be reminded of your dreams so you can start writing them down. And in writing your dreams down, you could learn so much about yourself, your purpose, your calling, and how impactful you are in the world. You matter, and your presence matters. And there's so much more you can give. Okay? The other thing that comes in mind that I would love to talk about, I'll just make this short. Take the time to create a night routine that would help you if you really want to start dreaming and writing your dreams down and getting some of your solutions in dreams, or answers to problems or ideas. Like I said, I have books titles given to me in dreams, like literally handed to me, and I see it very clearly and I write it. Imagine that could happen to you. Is that effortless? The book that I'm writing, I would wake up with a whole paragraph in my head. And sometimes I would wake up with a memory of something in my childhood and have a clear understanding that I need to write that in a book. So needless to say, dreams have served me well. And I'm still learning to surrender more and more and more. And the more you surrender your stuff, the much I feel you get more clear about what you see in your dreams. I don't know if that's the reason why it happens that way, but I know for me it does. The more I surrender things and don't worry too much about anything and just let it be and allow things to unfold on their own, is important. The other thing I always do, even in the morning when I'm having my own prayer moment or meditation, I always say these words. I want to be used. I want to be used by the divine. I want to be used by the universe. I want to allow myself to be a vessel so that my selfishness or things that I feel only serve me can be pushed aside a little more, so that I can become more of a being that serves humanity and the plan for our planet, the plan for all. I also ask to surrender my will so that the universe will would take control and I wouldn't have an argument about it or get upset that it's not going my way. And I recognize when that happens, it makes me have a little more victory over the ego, because the ego has a way of trapping us and making us feel that we control the universe, which is funny to me sometimes. But that's the tricks the ego will use to make us believe that we can figure out the universe and make it work the way we want it to work. And I think that's funny. Because it never does. The universe does what it wants as it is. And I've learned, once I'm surrendered and obedience to the prompting of the universe, I recognize that what I need starts showing up. For example, one of the things that started showing up for me was teachers that I needed to propel me to my next level of learning and acquiring knowledge and wisdom and teaching. And so when that happened, I learned to become much more quieter, and I listen more, and I'm much more gentler to what I don't know. I don't beat myself over something I don't know, because I know it will be provided for me when I'm ready. And that is powerful. You know, that's the most important thing I think I've learned since I started becoming an awakening being, in the sense that I became more open to what the universe can teach me and mold me into. It's no longer me deciding I want to be molded this way or that way. I just allow myself and surrendered, and I said, it is well with me. It is well with my soul. So that taught me to become much more present. And that's what I wish for all of us, because to be awakened of the truth of who we really are, or who you really are, is a gift. And once you become fully aware of this beauty, of this gift, and stepping into it and accepting it, it's so freeing. It's very freeing, and it's a lot more accepting of flaws within yourself. Then you become much more acceptance of the imperfections and actually embrace it and realize that that's what makes you special and unique and loving, kind, gentle. And of course, as a person who just recognized that you make an impact in this world. So that's my bit. I'm excited. I always tell you guys I'm excited about the writing. Now I'm still waiting for the song for my mom to put in a book. So that's the next thing. And after that, we will submit the book to the publisher. They can look it over and make sure that the order that I've put things in will make sense. And then we go to the next step and see how things go from there. But I'm learning more and more and growing and understanding that the more I surrender, the more I learn, and the more teachers come my way and give me what I need. And I'm sure you've heard the story before, or this phrase before: when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. I know it may sound like a cliche, but for me, it has been that powerful. Each step of my life, when I'm thinking that, okay, I don't have it figured out and I'm just ready to learn, and the teacher shows up, and it's just powerful. So I hope today's session, or not a session, sorry, I'm not out of work. This is just for a fun thing I do. I hope today's podcast was helpful and enlightening, and of course, healing. You can reach me at loveforgivelive@gmail.com. And that's spelled LUV, as in Victor, the number 4, give, GIVE, live, LIVE, @gmail.com. My name is Sroda Aglago. Thank you for joining me at Love, Forgive, Live. Those of you who listen on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and, of course, on TikTok. The name on TikTok is the same, Love, Forgive, Live. And, of course, on iTunes, iCloud, Amazon, and Spotify. We are trying to get ourselves into more areas. Stay tuned, and I will let you know. Thank you for listening. Have an awesome week, and I hope today's podcast was helpful. I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye. Love you all.